Welcome to 3Q, and in this episode, I am especially delighted to be talking to Lucian Wagner from Privilege Ventures about big data. Hello, Lucian, how are you today?
Hey, David, it's great to be back. I'm almost a regular on your show, and I'm really looking forward to getting some of the UK perspectives every now and then, since I'm here in continental Europe.
It's great to see you again. Well, my first question is, there's a lot of talk about big data and companies that manipulate and deliver the results of big data to their customers. Do you think these sort of companies offer an interesting investment opportunity to a VC like yourselves?
Well, it depends on what manipulating data would be defined as. Is it meant as handling? In which case, I would say, yes, they are obviously interesting companies to invest in. But if you have the negative connotation of manipulation, so it's a handling with some evil or at least a very profit-minded aim in their afterminds, then I think that I, as an investor, would step away from it. There may be some opportunistic people out there that will even make some money on the short term, but in the long term, I think it'll come back to haunt you if you hide from consumers that you're doing something with their data.
It's a very interesting view, that, because we've seen many examples of big data being used for both good and bad reasons. I mean, the Facebook Cambridge Analytica saga springs to mind straight away. And it's also interesting, the Netflix documentary, The Social Dilemma, which I found interesting about the way that these platforms harvest data and use it. I suppose leads me into my second question. Now we're able to process big data in the way we are. Do you think it's possible to predict the pathways of economies, if things are going to get good and bad?
So I was very intrigued by the way that we have learned to track the economy faster after COVID hit. We now have found a whole bunch of indices that are a very good indication of where the economy stands today. So we know a week later, not a month or 2 months later, what's happening. Transport indices, credit card usage, as opposed to a full retail report on what was actually sold. So it's relatively easy for me to believe that if we made that progress, we can then make another jump and predict on the basis of very quick statistics that we now have at our disposal.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because collection of big data is real time, isn't it? And if you can achieve real time analysis, then one suspects that you could predict future events, or at least have a good insight as to what they might be. So for my third question, and this is what I consider very important, do you think the harvesting of big data, even with consent, can be considered a breach of personal privacy?
Well, I mean, obviously, if you have consent, it's not a breach in my view. I mean, if I give you the right to take my data and use it, then that's my decision, and then you do whatever you want with it. I believe that most people don't understand what the consent really means, and to what degree tracking different sources of data and triangulating back on the person, what consequences that has. I, for myself, am convinced that as soon as face recognition is implemented on a somewhat largish scale, privacy is gone.
Oh, okay, that's a viewpoint I've not heard before. So you reckon that will be the breach, that'll be the final bastion of privacy with facial recognition?
Well, one of the things I enjoy doing is being a private individual, and maybe also a little bit because of my age. My kids don't care about using their credit cards everywhere. I actually like reaching into my billfold and taking a bill out and paying in cash. So I'm a little bit of a dinosaur. But if you have the payment streams and the facial recognition together, uh, companies like Palantir and others, they will know everything about you if they have access to that data. Yeah, there's nothing that would not be transparent, all the good and all the bad. And that's what we are as humans. So I'm not thrilled about this.
Lucian, it's an absolute pleasure to have you game on 3Q. I always enjoy your opinions and the insights you have to give to us. Thank you very much.
Okay, David. See you next time.